Hey everybody. Dying. Hairball. Hey everybody, my name is Hillary Moore. Welcome to part 2 of what is reactive hypoglycemia. This is going to be my story of what I went through. I did the first video and then I was like, I have too many thoughts on my mind right now. I really want to tell y'all my story so you can know what it's like if you're going through this right now. Won't do to take off driving my car. That wouldn't get me far enough. It won't do to take off on a train. Everyone's left that way. Well, quick thing before we jump into this video, I want to make a huge disclaimer. I'm not a medical professional. Please do not use this in replacement of getting medical professional advice. This is just so you know what worked for me, what didn't work for me. This is just so you can know that there's someone out there that is going through what you're going through, and make sure that you are seeking medical professional advice because that is so important. Even with everything I've gone through and with how rough it's been with the medical profession, I still think that it is so important that you do try to find a doctor that will work with you and listen with you and actually be on your team and actually help you, because there are doctors out there that can. Don't let this turn you off from that. You are about to hear some things that are pretty rough and I would not blame you if you were a little pessimistic, but please go into this with open ears. That's what I always try to do with the new doctors. I try to be open. I try to listen to what they have to say. I try my best to give it the benefit of the doubt. With that being said, I do want to say, with an illness like reactive hypoglycemia or whatever chronic illness you may have that doctors aren't for sure of yet, you always have to be an advocate for yourself. Always stand up for yourself. If you feel like you're going in there and something that they're telling you is kind of like going against your common sense and your gut is like, oh, I don't know about this, get a second opinion. Go to another doctor. Get another doctor and say, hey, does this sound right? Because I once had a doctor tell me that a blood sugar of 46 was normal. Let me just let that sink in. She told me that a blood sugar of 46 was normal. And I was like, at first I was like, oh, like, okay. Like, I was very confused. And then the more I thought about it, and if you just even do a quick Google search, you can see that your blood sugar should never, like, some people say it's between 60 is the cutoff. You shouldn't be below 60. Some people say you shouldn't be below 70. Some people even say you shouldn't be below 80. I don't know. It's different for each person. I think it depends on where you have symptoms. So like if you're 60 and you feel fine, or you're 65, you feel fine, maybe that's where your normal is. But for me, my normal has to be above 70. Even sometimes 72, 73, I'm already starting to feel some symptoms. But she was telling me 46 was normal. And I had to get a second opinion because I was like, you know what? I want to respect, and I do. I respect their opinions. I know they've been to school for this. I know that this is their life's work, that they're passionate about it, that they're proud about it. But at some point, you have to make sure that you're standing up for yourself and that you're taking care of yourself. Because had I listened to her, I would probably be in very, very rough shape right now. So I just want to put that out there, just so y'all know, just disclaimer, I am not a medical professional. And this is my story. This all started probably, I would say, about 3 or 4, maybe 5 years ago now, where I would just feel really lightheaded. And at first I thought, oh, maybe I have low blood pressure, because sometimes I have that a lot. And I just got a blood sugar test from Walmart for like $10. And y'all are probably like, okay, slow down, hypochondriac, you know? But when I got this blood sugar test and I tested myself, I was 40. And I was like, this can't be normal. And at the time I didn't realize how bad that is, because I was like, oh, It's fine. I'm 40. I'll just eat some sugar, bring it back up. Like, I would have slurred speech. Sometimes I wouldn't be able to really talk at that point, and I didn't know how bad that is on your body. Like, I had no clue stepping into this. I would get 35s, I would get 40s because I didn't know I was eating sugar, I was eating candy, I was eating high carbohydrate meals because that's what we eat in America. Like, that is our diet. Like, that is it. The standard American diet, carbs, sugar, just load up on it. Let's do it. I had no idea. I had no idea that that's what was causing it. No idea. So I went to my doctor and I said, hey, like, something's wrong. Like, I don't know what's going on. So they tested me for diabetes. And when I did the little test where you drink the solution, of course, this was like 4 years ago, they said I didn't have diabetes. My blood sugar didn't spike too high, but they did notice that I was moving a lot quicker. So my blood sugar would go up at a higher rate than normal and go down at a higher rate than normal. Like, so it was just like really fluctuating. I don't think I had a low at that point because, see, sometimes I could eat sugar and I'd be okay with it. And I didn't actually go low that day. They didn't catch a low. It's almost like it was hard for them to catch it in a doctor's setting because at that time I could eat sugar. Sometimes I'd be okay. And then sometimes I would be really bad. So like my body just decides when it wants to do it and when it doesn't. So sometimes like I'm fine. So I tell myself, oh, I can eat ice cream. I'll be fine. And then some days I'm like, I can't eat ice cream. So after I had gone to my general doctor and she said, okay, you don't have diabetes, but we're going to send you to a specialist because we don't know why this keeps happening. We don't know why your blood sugar is dropping. So they send me to an endocrinologist. Now, this first endocrinologist, he did the regular like blood tests, like the checkups, and he just didn't know. And at the time, if any of y'all have ever had chronic illnesses before, you know what this is like, where at first you're like, okay, let's figure this out, but then you get exhausted after going to all the doctor's appointments and doing all the tests and everything, and you get to a point where you're just like, I'm tired of this. Like, I'm just gonna live with it for right now. I don't know. I didn't realize how bad it was for me at the time. So I stopped going, and that kind of fizzled out. Then I went to a second endocrinologist because I was like, that guy didn't know what he was doing. So I'm going to Google, I'm going to get the best of the best. I'm going downtown Houston. I'm not going to drop any names. I'm not going to tell you where I went. But I'm like, I need to go downtown because I need to get somebody who really, truly knows this. And maybe if they're downtown, they've seen more cases. Maybe they're more familiar with this. So I go downtown. And they do the regular blood work. They're like, it's coming back normal. We don't know what's going on. So then they had me do a mixed meal test. So a mixed meal test is where you bring a meal, which I think it's, sometimes they provide it, but for me, they said, bring something that causes you to go low. So guess what I brought? I brought some mashed potatoes, loaded mashed potatoes. Oh, I ate good because like I can't always eat those things. So I was like, I'm going to eat real good. So I bring that in there, like get some cheese enchiladas, some mashed potatoes. Like I'm going to town, right? And the first time, my body was like, I got this. You're good. It didn't do anything. So what happens is after you eat that mixed meal, they check your blood and they check your blood sugar, and they also take like a couple vials every hour for like 6 hours. So you end up losing like 24, 25 vials of blood, and you get poked a lot. So it's not the most fun thing in the world, but that's it. That is what it is. So they couldn't catch it. So they're like, great. This is what we want you to do now. Whenever you have a low, we want you to go to the ER and have them take this specific test so we can see what's happening. Well, I tried it and I was in the car, my mom was driving, and I was 40 and I was shaking and my vision was blurry, and it just got to the point where we were like, by the time we got there, I was starting to come back up. I was 45, 50, I was starting to come back up, and it was just like, I couldn't do that to my body and continually just sit there and be low and not do anything about it because it was terrible. Like it was a living nightmare. So that didn't work. So then they're like, okay, well, let's try the mixed meal test again. So with me, physical activity is very directly linked to my reactive hypoglycemia. If I eat and then I go and walk around, or
I go to like a dance class, because I do a lot of theater. So if I go and do like dance, or if I go and do something like that, I'm like bottoming out. It's bad. So they said, okay, we want you to do the mixed meal test one more time. And this time we want you to actually move around. We want you to actually like do some physical activity. Hey everybody, so guess what? As I was editing this part 1, it got very long. So I was like, I'm just gonna split it up. That way it's not too overwhelming and you don't have to sit there for so long. If you wanna watch part 2 right now, to find out like what happened next in my journey, then go ahead and click on over to part 2. I hope you really like this video so far. I hope it gives you some more insight, and I will see you guys in part 2.